No, he's in that though, isn't he?
Oh, he's fantastic in that.
He's fantastic in everything he does.
He
The only thing
really
I
is.
think he wasn't fantastic in was Hannibal Lecter.
Oh, I never saw that one.
Yeah, the Manhunt,
Watch
the
that.
Michael Mann and Michael Mann directed. William Peterson was Will
Yeah.
Graham. I
Okay.
much prefer Red Dragon. I thought it was great with Ed Norton and Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins. Yeah, I didn't really get too deep into that. I didn't go past Silence of the Lambs. Hey, welcome to the podcast, everybody. You're jumping
Yeah,
right into it.
yeah. We just started
Talking
talking
about
because go ahead.
we're talking about actor Brian Cox and how much we love him, which led us into a couple different areas.
Yeah,
But
just how it goes.
Johnny made the statement that Brian Cox always plays like a Russian bad guy, and
Yeah,
I'm like, no, he doesn't.
Russian contact.
So he was. I forgot he was Captain O'Hagan in Super Troopers 1 and 2.
Oh yeah.
But we're talking about how much we love him in Succession on HBO, which is a freaking amazing show.
Greg was talking about that. I haven't seen it, but
Oh,
it's Brian
yeah, it
Cox.
is.
So I just
Brian.
expect.
Yeah.
Oh, you know who's really good too? My wife's watching that show Billions. Um,
Oh, I haven't.
both lead actors, Giovanni Ribisi, I think
Giamatti.
his name is.
No,
Is
it's
that his
Paul
name?
Giamatti. Paul Giamatti is
Paul
the show.
Giamatti.
Yeah.
Jesus, yes. Paul Giamatti and the ginger. He's a really good actor. He's really
He is
good.
a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
Who's I want to call him Frank Winters, but that's not his name.
So that's
Um,
a center for the Green Bay Packers.
no, Frank Winters is well, yes, he is. But the Frank Winters I'm thinking of is from Band of Brothers,
Oh,
uh, of which this guy is the first thing I. And here I, oh man, I can't type and talk at the same. I'm like, Band of Winters.
okay.
No,
Hang on.
that's not it.
You keep doing what you're gonna do. Keep typing. Um, while we're on the Green Bay Packer thing, we're not talking to Aaron Rodgers, but I do want to throw a shout out. Congratulations to Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh my
You
god.
guys, you guys, I think you were down 2-0 and you came back to win it in game 7, which is fantastic. That's
Yeah.
I think Greg, I'm with you lately. I'm excited for the Browns next year. I'm excited for these teams that never have a fucking shot.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
now they're getting good. Like the Bucks. That's one of the teams that never had a shot. They have a shot this year. In fact, all of the dominant teams, if I'm now, I'll be honest, I don't watch basketball anymore, but I keep my ear to
Sure.
sports just to
Sports
hear.
news. Yeah.
I think all of the really dominant teams with the really good players are gone, which
Yeah.
means it's like the Phoenix Suns are going to take on the LA Clippers to see who goes into the finals in the
Right.
Western Conference. And in the Eastern Conference, Game 7 is being played right now between the Atlanta Hawks and the 76ers to see who faces the Milwaukee Bucks.
Right.
So it's I'm excited for that because those are people I did not expect to be in championship contention, and yet here they are. And I think that's what
Well,
makes sports fantastic. And I think that's why the NFL is the number one sport, is because you just never know whose team
right.
is going to be.
The with the Bucks, like
Yeah,
we've been on this kind of slow climb.
very.
And yes, we've got Giannis and he's obviously our franchise player, but
Hmm?
even like I think a season or two ago, I was like, is he gonna come back? Because we made it fairly far in the playoffs before COVID, like the season before COVID,
Yes.
and then
I
last year,
think
I don't
you
think
lost to
was.
Toronto. I think they
Yes,
won the
that's what it was.
championship
Yep,
that year. Yeah.
that's right. Because that singer, what's his?
Kawhi.
No, I was gonna say Drake kept. Was it Drake?
Oh,
He kept
yes.
like he's on the sideline, like kept coming out on the floor and shit like that. They're like, dude,
Yeah.
you have nothing to do with the NBA.
He
You
does that. He
can't
does it
do that.
everywhere. He goes to like LeBron James's son's games and sits
Yeah,
there at courtside acting like he's this. I don't.
like
That
he's
dude
a
has to
part
be.
of the team or somehow
Yeah,
attached to the team. You're like, who the fuck is this
I
guy?
think. I think he has some sort of percentage ownership for the Toronto Raptors, but still, you don't have to be a
It's it's very
sports
much like
star.
the State Farm commercial where he's the stand-in and he kept stealing the
Yeah,
actors. And he's like, stand-ins don't have
yeah.
lines. And he's like, oh,
You know
I
what's
mean, that's
funny
what
about? Go ahead.
Oh, I said that's the feeling I just get from him. But
Yeah. What's
whatever.
funny, he has a curse. It's called the Drake curse. And what was
Oh,
funny
really?
was when they played that Super Bowl commercial, like Patrick Mahomes was getting his butt kicked during that Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers didn't make it. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, the Drake curse got him because they filmed that. Obviously, they filmed that
Yeah.
like in the off season. But it's just funny how Drake has his curse going. Like, oh shit, Drake's at your game. You're gonna lose. So watch out, Cleveland Browns. Do not invite that
Oh
man
yeah. Keep
to a
Drake off
game.
the field.
Yeah. Anyway, we're talking about
Yeah.
Frank Winters.
Yeah. Well, the Damian Lewis is the name of the
Yes,
actor.
yes. Damian.
Um, and I, like I said, I first saw him in Band of Brothers, which is a series that I will watch about once a year.
I have
Um,
okay. I've never watched that, and
oh,
everybody
so
yells at me for it, and I'm like, yeah, I
so
know, I got
good.
to get to it.
And I mean, I'm not gonna. I mean, you've got to like World War II history, and I think there is some over dramatization of certain pieces. But what I loved about it is like they had because all the actors in there are playing real men. Uh,
Right.
that either lived through or died in World War II. But in the beginning of each episode, you've got these old guys and they're talking about where they were and what they were doing. But they never put who they were until the last episode where you're like, oh, that guy is
That
Frank
guy.
Winters. This guy is Bill Compton. I mean, all that stuff. So,
Wow.
um, but yeah, he,
Hey guys, if you ever get a shot to sit down and talk to your grandfather or your uncle, if they're willing to
yeah,
talk about it, listen to it because those
well,
were men. Those were men before they were men.
oh
They were
God, in
boys
World
and
War,
they
yeah, they were.
became a man.
And the World War II generation is fast fading. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you can sit down with a World War II vet at any point,
I would dare say generation wise, I would dare say they were the toughest son of a bitches in the world.
well, they were called the Greatest Generation. I mean,
Right.
what's hilarious is that when you're watching these World War II movies or
Yeah.
series or something like that, and you're seeing these guys, well, I'm just gonna use the example of like the invasion of Normandy and
Okay.
D-Day.
Yeah.
And you got like Saving Private Ryan, and you've got guys like Tom Hanks and Tom. Oh God, here I'm doing it again. I want to say Tom Wopat, but that's not his name.
Tom Hanks you're talking about?
No, no, no. His second in command, like the Italian guy who was chewing tobacco the whole time.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
But anyway, so you got all these people around them. You got to realize the guys that they were leading, they were like 18, 19 years old. Like some of them
Yeah.
younger than that. Some of them were 17 and just lying
Yeah.
about their age to get it. Like lying about your age to go to war. That doesn't happen anymore.
No, that doesn't happen. What was the oh, by the way, I just looked it up. It was not Dean Morris. That's not the guy we were talking about. We're talking about Jonathan Banks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. This was a conversation that was before we recorded, guys. but
Pre-recorded button.
yeah, yeah. Dean Morris was Hank, but Jonathan Banks was the guy is the guy from Beverly Hills Cop and that guy.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he always plays that old the guy you don't want to cross.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and I didn't watch a lot of Breaking Bad. So.
Yeah. I know, which is weird. I mean, it's a great TV
Yeah.
show. But at the same
That's
time,
one
I
of
mean,
those-
again, I have never seen Band of Brothers, so I'm right with you.
I just read the other day somebody was talking about like we're getting to the point where people are going to start forgetting that Breaking Bad was a
Show?
thing. Yeah,
I don't think
and
so.
it's Tom.
I think it's
Tom
going strong.
Sizemore was the guy I was trying to remember. So it was Tom Hanks and Tom Sizemore. They were the two leaders of the
Tom Sizemore. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, no, it is Tom. It is.
Right.
But anyway,
Sizemore. You ever watch him now? That dude is he's off the rails. You can tell he does.
he did a lot of drugs, I believe.
He still does, or it messed
really?
him up. Oh, you can tell, man. Just in between takes, you're like, oh shit, like you're high right now.
Well, and he was one of those guys that like in the 90s, everybody thought he was going to be like the next motherfucker. I just can't do names today. Um,
Next big thing.
yeah, that
Right?
he was going to be like the next Rosebud guy. What the hell? The greatest actor of all time, whatever his name was.
Okay, I don't think he was. I thought Laurence Olivier was the greatest actor of all time, according to
A lot of people.
actors.
Wow, this guy.
Orson Welles, you're talking about?
Orson Welles. Yes, thank you.
Was he considered the greatest actor of all time? Orson Welles? I think he
thought
made the greatest movie of all time, which again
maybe.
I think is bullshit. I had to watch
Yeah,
that movie. I thought it was horrible.
never seen.
Class.
Never seen it.
You're not missing a damn thing.
All right, but Sizemore has a ton of pre-production and post-production. He's got 3 movies filming right now. I mean, this guy is busy.
Yeah. Well, he has to keep his drug habit alive. You know what? I shouldn't do that. I am actually totally assuming that's what this guy does. But if you watch him act, either he acts worse than Bruce Willis, and what I mean by act is like they don't give a fuck anymore. They just show up and do the line and leave.
Well, and I'm just looking at some of these titles. They sound like
B movies,
the kind of movies that Bruce Willis is doing, kind of the direct to video kind of films. Someone Dies Tonight, coming in 2022. The Ghost City of Insurrection, filming now, and will be still available in 2021.
The Ghost City of Insurrection.
Yeah, some of these don't even have dates on them. They're in post production, and they don't have dates of like when.
I think that's what's happening a lot now with movies is they don't know when
that's going to come out. Yeah,
they don't know when to put them out.
So he's a very, very busy actor though.
All right.
And you know, I've heard about actors like that. You know, they're not making 10 million a movie or something like that, but they make enough. They're like, keeps the lifestyle, keeps food on the table, keeps the mortgage paid.
For a long time, that was Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
It seemed like for a while he was in 3 to 4 movies every year, and you were like, Snakes on a Plane, really? Oh, okay. And he just keeps going. Guy. Yeah. Which I always thought that's kind of the route you want to go. I mean, if you get to a Robert Downey Jr. level, or you get to a Chris Evans level, then you can pick and choose and do one movie a year, and I guess. But I always thought that it would just be fun to be a movie star. I'm sorry. Let me take that back. I think it would be fun to be an actor that does like those is Indiana Jones, and you're basically pretending for a living.
Right.
And I wonder how much of that bleeds out into the real world for them. Like, how much are they pretending?
Well, I have heard about that. Like, they definitely have to have their public persona turned on. Like, and that's when you hear about like the behind the scenes stuff of like someone is, you know, usually you hear the negative, like someone's really an asshole in private. Yeah. Or it's pretty rare that you hear about, oh no, he's a totally nice guy.
Yeah.
I think we were talking today. I don't know how we got on the topic, but an actor by the name of Eric Kramer, and you say the name and people go, who's Eric
No,
Kramer?
I think I remember him.
If I say that he was on Good Luck Charlie, you go, I don't know what that is, but that was a Disney show that was on forever. But if I say he's the first live action Thor to ever be put on a TV movie.
Oh my God. That's why I remember. You're right. Now he looks like a bouncer.
Yeah. I mean, he was always kind of a big dude.
Yeah. You guys are referring to this. That was the original Thor, guys.
Yeah. It's blurry as hell right now, but yeah.
Sorry. And let's see.
Still no, maybe kind of, but yeah, he was the first Thor ever put on film. And it was funny is because it was shocking. Like, we didn't know what was coming.
Yes, I remember watching that, and I just remember that little geeky guy pulling a hammer out of his bag and going, Thor, and I was like, what?
Oh, he'd scream Odin, and then
did you scream Odin?
Yeah, because that was Donald Blake, who is a former lab assistant to because it wasn't Bruce Banner, it was they didn't call him Bruce Banner, David Banner. It was who he was in the TV show. I don't know. I don't know. It's like they said his name was like David Bruce Banner. It's like, why? I don't know why they called him David Banner.
Oh, either.
I'd have to look that up.
Yeah.
But in the comics, Donald Blake used to like smash his cane down, and then he would switch places with Thor. And in this, he's just holding the hammer and like summoning Thor.
Yeah.
And then they would still share screen time together. So Thor would come in as the Viking, and Donald Blake was like his conscience, like, no, you can't do that here. This is Earth, and like,
which
like
I
that.
thought that's a cool idea. I was down for it. I'm as you brought that up, I was remembering the one scene where he's like, "Oh, there you are." He's like, Thor is one of the best hunters or trackers in the world.
Yeah.
He found David Banner. But go ahead. You were talking about Eric Kramer.
Well, just like he's a working actor. I mean, I think that he's the definition of a working actor, and that he hasn't done huge parts on like shows that everybody. But I mean, he was on a Disney show for multiple seasons.
Yeah.
Paying his bills, man. Like, being an actor.
That's the name of the game.
And there's how many adult, not adult stars. That's the wrong, but like, no, because they are adults working for like Disney or Nickelodeon or something like that. Having to play like, okay, like you're a good actor, but we're going to have you overact because this is a Nickelodeon show.
Yes.
Or something along those lines. Whereas like, we don't want you to be a good actor here. We want you to be a kid show level actor.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, well, that's what the director wants me to do. So here we go.
Yeah. Yeah. I was watching something on YouTube because there's a guy on YouTube I watched named I forgot his name, but he does movie reviews, and I agree with pretty much 90% of his movie reviews.
John Campina or John Camp?
No, not him. He's a redhead. He sits in his like little cubicle. Forgot his name. Damn it. He's very popular. He has over 1 million subscribers. Speaking of that, if you guys like this, like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
But
he's one of our tens of followers.
Yeah, he reviews movies that come out right away, and he does it very well. He comes from a very he explains, like, he goes in depth in movies in terms of why he liked it, why he didn't. So he's a very good movie reviewer. I can't I don't know the guy right now. But he was reviewing the whole Indiana Jones thing. And he broke down
the new filming of like
no,
the latest.
No. He broke down only the movies that came out. He broke down the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and the way he broke it down, I agreed with every reason why it didn't work. I was like, yeah, that's right. That's absolutely right. But anyway, that again can literally lead you down a rabbit hole into YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
you can.
I saw this one where they say Harrison Ford acts like a complete ass signing autographs. All right. So I hit it, and he's about 77 years old at this point. And I think he's walking into a restaurant. So he's hungry.
Yeah.
Okay. And everybody shoves stuff in his face.
Oh my God.
At first he's like, cool. All right. He's signing. It's all Indiana Jones stuff.
Yeah.
And then he loses his cool when a guy hands him a baseball bat and then a baseball. And he's like, why am I signing this? And he goes, oh, it's just for my collection. He goes, a baseball has nothing to do with me.
Right.
Which he has an absolute point. He's like, no, it's just for my friend. He's like, no. This is weird. What you're doing is you're going to sell this on eBay. This isn't for you.
Right.
He goes, this guy right here, and he holds up a Temple of Doom laminated thing. He goes, I can tell this guy is like into this. Like, this is what he like.
Yeah, this is for him.
He's handing something to me from like one of my projects, not a baseball. And that guy was like, come on, man, please. And this other guy was like, here, sign my guitar. He's like, I don't play guitar. Why am I signing this? Right.
Well,
and I thought that he's not being a dick. He's right.
No, he's absolutely not being a dick. Do you remember when we were at the last Comic-Con we went to? And I was a big fan of Mikuro Adolfo's, the Italian comic creator. And we went to her table.
Yes.
And I bought a bunch of the trades that I just couldn't find anywhere else.
Yeah, and her manager was like,
and then like her manager or handler, because Mikuro was like, is this for you? I said, yeah. So she's like, can I personalize it? And I'm like, yes, please. To Greg,
Yeah.
and then whatever. And she started doing that, and the manager like shot over,
Yeah.
and she's like, is she personalizing these? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, okay, because if she's not, if she's personalizing them, they're free. But if it's not personalized, then it's like, I think she said $25 an autograph or something like that. And
Which
I was
that
like,
makes sense.
and I went, wow, no, because
Yeah.
I'm of the fan base that when I go to a comic convention and I want to get someone's autograph, it's
Yeah.
for me. Like I'm
Right.
not,
Yeah. Yeah. I know. You're not doing it to
and
sell on eBay.
they upcharge for people that are not personalizing things
Right.
so that guys don't just go and flip them on eBay or wherever, or even just take them over to another booth that
Yeah.
they have set up and turn around and try to sell it for, a ton of money.
Right. I agree.
And I think that, uh, I think that hurts the fan base
Yeah.
when guys are doing that.
I agree with you. I
So,
agree with you. I think it absolutely does. They're not there for the fandom of it. They're there to get money.
yeah.
And anytime you're doing something just for the money, I don't know, it comes out slimy.
Well, there was, going back years ago now, 15, 20 years ago, when I first started going to conventions, and like all the Star Wars people were like independent at their own booths. Like,
Right.
so I hung out with Anthony Daniels for 20 minutes, just chatted up. Uh, Jeremy Belloc, who played Boba Fett, he chatted me up for a while. And these guys are Ray Park, when Ray Park was like the thing,
Yeah.
because episode 1 had just come out, and he was, the young stud on the convention circuit. And I just like ran into him, and
Hmm.
I'm like, with my little disposable camera, I'm like, hey dude, can I get your picture? And he's like, oh yeah, sure. And he like called me over. The security folks, I somehow, you know, made my way in between them, and they couldn't stop me. And so they're like, son of a bitch, he's got to get somewhere.
Yeah.
But I got a nice picture with Ray Park that I didn't pay for. He was just being cool
Cool.
because I was a fan.
Yeah. I talked to Jim Lee for about 5, 6 minutes,
Yeah.
and no one was around him. Like they didn't know
Now,
it was Jim Lee. And I was
right.
like, hey, you are my favorite artist, period. Like I love your Batman, I love
Yeah.
your Wolverine. And he was like, oh man, thanks, man. I'm like, how long does it take you to, anyway.
You start
But
chatting
yeah,
them up. Yeah.
yeah,
But now, like the Star Wars people, they at some point got organized. Or I don't know if it was Lucasfilm that made them do it or if it was somebody else. But now, like at one point at a Wizard World show, they had like a curtained off area. Like you couldn't go back and even like walk up and down the aisle
yeah.
to see who was there. You had to have like a ticket to get behind there, and you had like, who are you going to see? And it became like this super scheduled thing. And I'm like, I'm not down with that, because like you and I have gone up and talked to celebrities that have the huge line, and if
Yep.
like their line has died down, like we walk up to them and be like, hey, we're not buying autographs. We just want to meet you and shake your hand. And we make sure our phones are put away and stuff like
Yeah.
that, so
Yeah.
that their managers aren't being sketchy
Yeah.
or getting mad at us. We're just fans and want to say hi. And
Yeah.
they are totally open to that.
Yeah. Usually they are.
Yeah.
For sure. Unless it's Lou Ferrigno. But anyway.
We don't approach him though.
No, we don't. By the way, the guy that I look on YouTube, I can't believe I forgot this. It's Chris Stuckman.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
He's a really good movie reviewer. So he broke down he called Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. He goes, it was almost Tomb Raider-ish. He goes, and he made a great point. He's like, they just got through a jungle and they're fighting, and they just got like, this is at the ending, the actual ending, where the UFO rises above and goes away. He goes, and look at them, and he said, like, look at them when they're all on top of that pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
All of their clothes are pristine.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, what the hell is this? He's like,
Yeah.
everything was pristine. Nothing was dirty, grimy. He goes, look at Temple of Doom. He is messed up. Look at Raiders of the Lost Ark. He is beaten to hell.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. They just don't. Do you think that's Harrison Ford just Like, I don't do that anymore. Like,
No, I
don't
don't
mess me
think
up.
that. I mean, how hard is it to wear a crummy jacket?
I not hard, but
I think it has something to do with, I don't know, like
like
Spielberg or somebody looked
Superman's
at it
cape
and went,
doesn't get dirty kind of thing.
I don't know. Like I think Spielberg or whoever looked at it and was like, "Nah, it's fine. No one's gonna care. They just want to see Indy on top of a pyramid."
I
You know,
don't I don't watch that film. Like, I don't. I've seen it. I did the whole, like, I fooled myself into thinking it was a good film for like a dozen viewings.
I think every single Indiana Jones fan did.
Yeah. Well, because I know
You
I did, because I
wanted to
did.
like it so much.
I did the same thing with the Star Wars prequels, where you're just
Yeah,
like,
I
no,
did.
no, it's good.
Oh, the prequels. The prequels. I was like that too. The last three that were out, I was like, these are shit.
Yeah.
That was just me. But anyway, we have a
But
long
yeah,
history of my feelings for Star Wars, the
that's
last three
true.
movies.
But
Anyway,
like, even because the Crystal Skull being what it was, this whole piece that they're doing with
I
this
know
next
you are
Indiana
not on
Jones film,
board for
I'm
five.
really not. I mean, and I know Harrison Ford, like when somebody said, "Oh, if you had to pass the hat and the whip on to somebody else," and he's like, "No one." Like, he has said, "I am Indiana Jones." It's they will not recast. They won't do this. And I'm like, then just leave it alone. Like, let us enjoy the films that we like now and stop. I mean, because yeah, I don't want to see 77-year-old
I'm still,
unless
yeah.
they somehow. I hope they don't ignore it, because I felt like in Crystal Skull they ignored the fact that Indy was old.
You
Like,
thought so?
I did. Like, they didn't really. I didn't feel like they were trying to have him show his age much at all. Like, he was still trying to do all this stuff. And like, there's a scene, it's in the beginning scene where they're fighting in the warehouse, and Harrison Ford's running across some boxes.
And he takes the
And
whip.
they've got the camera on him. So it's like, this is him. And you're just like, he's running like an old man. And you're like, why are they doing this? Like, I don't understand why. And then it turned into like a lot of the, oh, we're going to shoot this one from the back. And you're like, well, that stuntman's moving a hell of a lot better than Harrison Ford, because I mean, you
I
can
didn't
just
even,
tell the
I didn't
difference.
even think of that. I just remember never fearing for Indiana Jones. And I remember in the other ones, I would fear it. Like when he's on his back in the Temple of Doom, and the voodoo doll has the knife in the
Oh
back of
yeah.
the voodoo
Uh-huh.
doll, and he's about to get crushed, and you're like, oh shit! And then last second he gets out of it, or
Yeah.
on the bridge. I rewatched that bridge scene after I watched that guy's review, and I was like, damn, this still gets you. This still
Yeah.
get like you're like, shit, how's he gonna get out of this? You know, um, and I think there wasn't that on the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. There was just, oh, okay, moving on from point A to point B to point C to point D to point
Mm.
E to point F, you know.
I
So
think I'm a little afraid, and I don't know if you've ever seen Star Trek Generations, which
yes,
is the death of Captain Kirk, like the actual death of
Captain
Kirk.
Kirk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's, in my opinion, it's terribly done. Like, just not good. So, like, at the end of the film, you're like, well, that's how they're going to pass the torch from Kirk to Picard, even though there was no torch
they
to
already
pass,
kind
because
of did it.
they
Yeah,
did that, and they were separate entities, but they just wanted these two great captains to meet and blah blah blah. But that was like William Shatner's swan song in that franchise, and you're like, eh. And I just got the feeling that that's what this is going to be with
Indy.
Indy. Yeah, like, he might not make it at the end, or he'll,
Yeah, yeah.
or if
I
he
don't think he's
does,
gonna pass it on. I think it's just gonna be that's it.
yeah, I
You
no,
know.
I don't think there is any passing on. Like, it's
Yeah.
going to be either he dies, or we're going to learn his eventual fate. Because, again, in the novels, like, I haven't read a ton of Indiana Jones novels, but you can go on, like, I think it's the Indiana Jones wiki page, and read them, like the
Yeah.
summary of them all. He eventually dies like in the 50s in a retirement home,
Oh,
or
does
like
he?
maybe the 80s or something like that. But he's an old man who
Yeah.
makes it in a retirement home. Like, I remember reading a point where before he was in the retirement home, he was still single, but he loved Halloween and he'd scare the shit out of kids coming to his door. To the point where they're like, dude, like the police would show up and they're like, Mr. Jones, you can't do that. Like, it's trick or treat, but it's really just treat. Like, give them the candy, let them move on. And he would get inside, and he had a daughter. That's right, he had a daughter. And so she eventually had to like move him to a home and blah blah blah. And that's where he died, like peacefully in his sleep. And then I don't think they're going to do that.
That's really fucking depressing.
Well, and the idea was that Indy eventually stopped his adventuring, grew old, had a life, like,
well, that's what happens.
Became an old man and passed away of old age.
That's what happens. Absolutely.
And they're like, I don't think they're going to let that happen, for one thing.
Yeah.
But if they do, it's just going to be at the end after this last adventure. They'll do it in the credits of, here was Indy's fate, or the camera will pan across a gravestone and it will say, and like maybe the golden idol is on one side and the grail is, on his headstone. Yeah. The headstone has just got those carved into it, and it'll have from one year to another year. So I don't know.
I don't know how it's going to end either. And I guess I'm just going to sit there and I'm going to go see it because I'm an Indiana Jones fan to the day I die.
Because
I'm doing my best. I'm going to do my best to reserve judgment until I see it. But this time when I walk out of it, I'm not going to be like in this haze of no, it was good. It was good because it's Indy,
And my expectations are so low that I might go see it and be like, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, and come out happy. So,
all right, switching gears. Something came up over the internet this week that kind of went wild. You'll know what I'm talking about as I dive into this, Greg. But what I guess in a Harley Quinn cartoon, for season 2, they weren't going to have, or whoever's in charge of Batman.
Okay, so but hold on, before you get to the punchline here, the backstory is that Harley Quinn has a series on HBO Max, and it is animated. It's animated, but it is rated R, so it is for adults, and it is sex, drugs, rock and roll, superhero style, and it's focused on the villains.
Okay.
So go ahead. Yeah, there's the setup.
I guess who's ever in charge of Batman, the character himself, reviewed season 2 and flipped out, I guess, when they had in season 2 Batman eating out Catwoman.
Yes.
Yeah. And they freaked out, and so now everybody, including Zack Snyder,
yes, he did,
is throwing together like their artist renditions of those two couples doing their thing.
Yep.
And I wanted to bring it to you, and I don't want you to look at it as a parent. I want you to look at it as a comic book fan. Do you even need to see something like that?
No. Yeah. I don't need to see it. And the idea, the whole idea of it, like, I don't need like adult versions of superheroes. I mean, and I understand the Harley Quinn series. I understand why they made it. I've watched I think, did I finish the first season? I don't know if I finished the first season. It's decent. I mean, it's a kind of a action sitcom. Like the first episode is Harley Quinn breaking up with Joker. Like, she realizes that he treats her like absolute shit.
All right.
And that she is just codependent. And so they break up, and then she's in the dumps because she broke up with the Joker, or they're not together. Yeah. And she misses him. And then enter Ivy, who's bisexual, So like she's got the hots for Harley, but I'm going to help you through this as a friend, and then you can kind of see that relationship starting to form. So it's adult. So they came in, and yeah, season 2 had just a quick scene. It wasn't even like a major part of the show, but then DC came back and said you can't do that. Like Batman doesn't go down on people. and and they're
Wait,
like,
just that saying that should
yeah,
be on a T-shirt.
right.
Batman doesn't go down.
And it became like this big story. And I'm
Yeah.
trying to find the quote. Oh,
Yeah.
fuck it. I'm not going to find it.
Right. I
The
didn't see the big deal of it.
DC's like the editor at DC who said you can't do this.
Yeah.
And he's like, why? It fits the show. There's no reason why he wouldn't. He's billionaire playboy Bruce Wayne. Why would he not do this?
Not only that, Catwoman's his girl.
But they said, here's the thing. We sell toys of Batman. Like we have a generational responsibility here to not only create toys. He's like, we can't make a toy out of that. And I said, you can. It's just a different market. But the idea of like taking this essentially child's character that we've all grown up with and have made adult versions of, but still the bulk of their money is in action figures and kids things. Like you can't make a Lego Batman shirt with Lego Batman going down on Lego Catwoman.
Right.
So
I
now,
agree with
there's
you.
going to be a bunch of pirated versions of that kind of stuff
Of course.
over the place now.
Of course, that's everywhere. But I agree. I agree that I just feel like, look, show me why it needs to be in there.
Right.
Like, how does it move the plot forward? If it's just to have you go to have I don't know, those adult people that have been following Batman their whole life and have cosplayed to the extreme with it
off on something.
Yeah, I mean, if it's just for those people for that one moment, for them to go, dude, then it's not worth it. Like these, I don't care about Iron Man sleeping with Pepper Potts. I don't care about Peter Parker, having sex with Mary Jane.
Right.
I mean, that's not why they're there. Like, there's plenty of outlets for everything else, but I just kind of feel like, unless I'm being a stick in the mud, like I don't care.
I don't think you
I'm
are.
Not,
and my friend Buzz, who's been in comics his entire career, I'm looking at his Facebook page, and he had a good quote or a good saying. He's like, you don't need to have an adult version and a kid-friendly version of a franchise character. Yeah. If you can't write a hero everyone can enjoy, then you've failed.
Boom.
Like,
good job,
and
Buzz.
It's like there's truth to that. I mean,
is Buzz a writer or is he an artist?
He's an artist. He's an artist, but I mean, he's been in the comic world for so long, and he made his, well, not his start, but he came to popularity being an artist on Vampirella. So that's more of an adult oriented,
yes,
directed character. So he's in his art, he can do both. I mean, he can do kid stuff. Like my daughter in her room has a Lilo and Stitch that he did hanging in her room. And I know in a portfolio somewhere, I've got a Vampirella piece that I'm like, this is great. I don't know where I can hang this when my kids are still in the house. Like, from an artistic perspective, it's fantastic, but it's still Vampirella, and you go, maybe not. But I mean, his point being that Batman is a franchise character. You don't need to have this adult version of him and a kid-friendly version of him. You should just have Batman.
I guarantee you, if you go, I don't know, I really don't, but I guarantee you, for any of those that need to see this, I guarantee you, it's probably on Pornhub.
It's already been done. I mean, I'm
sure.
I mean, adult comics. I mean, or even just porn comics that have been drawn and redrawn since their inception. I mean, there's some underground press that I'm sure has done a Batman, porn comic.
I'm
for
sure. Yes,
a parody or something else. But
so it's out there if you need it, folks.
But yeah, I
understand why they didn't want this.
And I don't think DC is being DC Warner Brothers made a business decision.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not thinking about the fans. They're not thinking about, oh, this is what people want, because it's not what people want. It's a small percentage of people.
It is a very small percentage.
And until it came up, people probably didn't even know that they wanted to see it until they heard the headline.
Right.
They went, maybe I want to see that. Maybe I don't know. That might be no.
Yeah.
So they made a business decision, and I think it was the right one.
Yeah, I agree. Nobody wants to see that from any of your comic book characters. Nobody wants to see that. Or at least, sorry.
No, they do.
I don't need to see that.
And
Neither does my dog.
And if you do want to see that, there are other places for you to go.
Correct.
that are not officially licensed things.
Yes, correct. We'll end it there. Yeah, that's what I.
But the internet went nuts.
Yeah, because I think
I wasn't even going to talk about it, but we watch Philip DeFranco every night to get our news. It was one of his stories because it blew up the internet so much, and Krista's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's a thing that came out today.
That's a thing that happened." Yeah. So, speaking of overreacting or the internet going crazy, everybody is going nuts for Spider-Man No Way Home trailer. People are like, "It's coming tomorrow. It's coming tomorrow. It's coming tomorrow."
Is it coming tomorrow? I mean,
I don't think it's coming. I read somebody on my Instagram feed, something came up where it goes, "I predict that the Spider-Man trailer will come out from either in between from now until December, like when it comes out." He goes, "I believe it'll be sometime in between there." It's like, no shit, but that was the joke. But people are losing their minds over this.
It is, well,
and it's the worst. It's really the worst kept secret of what that plot is. It's the worst kept secret.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's going to be in it, and you just hope they do it to a point where it works well.
Just let it happen. Like, don't keep your opinions high. Don't speculate. Don't just let it happen.
Right.
I mean, and that's, some of you are like, no, that's part of the fun of fandom. I'm like, is it though? Because you just set yourself up for disappointment.
Yeah, no, the part I'm talking about is, okay, I used to have this rule. Like, I used to think there was this rule in superhero movies where you can't put too many characters in one movie. It'll ruin it.
For good reason you had that rule. I mean, that's what happened to the Batman series initially.
Yes.
And then that's what happened with Spider-Man 3 from Sam Raimi.
Right. And then and there were a couple other ones out there that
you just can't develop that many characters.
Yeah, exactly. The whole point was, and the only reason why these Avengers movies work is because the characters were developed.
Right.
They were already there. You already knew their backstories. You already knew their motivations. You already knew how they handle situations. And that's what made Infinity War awesome, was that everybody from the Marvel Universe was in it because they've all had their moments. And so they just got right into the action and you just understood everything.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is going to work, but I can't see Marvel greenlighting something that doesn't work.
Again, and of course I'm speculating, which I just said you shouldn't do. I don't think all these characters are going to be in the movie that much time in any kind of major thing. It's now that we've very well established a multiverse.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's going to be somehow some character is flashing through various multiverses at a fast rate.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, here's Tobey Maguire. Here's this character. Here's this character. I mean, something along those lines. I mean, and if it's not, I don't care. Just, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it. I'm just going to let it happen. I'm excited
for it. I'm excited for it, but
I'm honestly not.
You've never been a Spider-Man guy.
Oh, sure I have.
Sure I have.
Oh yeah, like when I was
never been your guy.
When I was in middle school, I actually was part of Marvel's mail service. Like I got the Todd McFarlane Spider-Man when it was just Spider-Man. Like they started a new
Yes, I
comic
remember
just
that.
for him
Yep.
because like he was
I
on.
remember the first arc too. It was the lizard.
Yeah, it's called
Was
Torment.
yeah, beating him up.
Yep.
Yeah, but we found out it was his girl. It was Craven's girlfriend or something like that.
Yeah. I mean,
Calypso, something
it
like
was
that.
cool. I mean, it was a cool
Yes.
storyline. Of course, Todd McFarlane art was off the charts at that point.
Yes.
And I that was like my mom sat me down and I don't know what it was for, but it was for some gift giving event, birthday or whatever. Well, we can pay for this. And so we, you know, I didn't want to cut it out of my comic, so she took it to her work and she copied it. And we signed up and I sent it away. And 3 to 6 weeks later, I started getting one comic a month in the mail that the mailman would kind of roll up and put in my mailbox. And I'd be like, what is he doing that for? You know, but they were, and that's what I was getting. I got quite a few Spider-Man comics that way.
Okay. So I didn't know you were a Spider-Man fan. Okay.
I mean, but when it comes
Can
to
I ask you a question? Well,
let me make this point quick. When it comes to the Marvel films, I'm just like, if I'm getting jazzed up about a Marvel film, it hasn't been Spider-Man. Like I like them. I like
Homecoming.
I like Homecoming. I like but they just haven't. I'm not watching those action scenes like, oh, that was amazing. I want to watch that again. I mean, I'm just not. So
okay. I've been doing this to you, I think, since we started this podcast, where I always feel like you're never 100% on board with this Marvel.
Excited for something?
Yes. I don't know if it's excited for something, but I think it's more or less. I think it's two reasons in my head. I think you've already explained the first reason is you've been let down so many times in your youth that you won't allow yourself to do it again. So I get that. Okay. The other one is, are you kind of upset because now everybody knows who kind of like Thor is, and Thor was always your boy, and now you're kind of like, dude, everybody likes Thor. What the fudge? Like, where were you guys?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's certainly good for the franchise. I'm getting a little worried now about the saturation of the market. Like, eventually, these Marvel films are going to stop.
Yes.
Like the money, like the fan base won't be there, and people that are saying no, they'll make Marvel films forever. They won't. I mean, because
no, they will. I just don't know if anybody's going to be as excited.
Maybe. I mean, because like even Star Wars came to an end, and then it eventually was rebooted. I mean, I think it could be along those lines where they'll stop
wait a generation.
I don't know if a generation will do it, or there's going to be like smaller projects because like they're doing Moon Knight now.
Yeah.
Moon Knight.
Yeah.
That is a D-list character that had a little bit of a resurgence, and he's got a fan base. He does. He has a very loyal fan base, but that character was like a poor man's Batman when he was created. And now they've revamped him so many times where he's actually like psychotic.
Oh,
like he's got
personalities. Yes, he's absolutely psychotic.
And that's how they're going to do him now. And I'm like, okay, let's see if it works. They've got a good actor playing him. So, all right.
The character is very hit or miss, and they need a good actor, which, again, like you said, they have a great actor to pull it off because it takes, depending on where they're going with this, because you also can't go that far with it because you're on Disney Plus. You know?
Well,
you can't go that far.
And that's where I kind of wonder how Disney's going to do this. I mean, will they put it on Hulu? In which case you can go as far as you want on Hulu.
That's true.
No,
I think it's coming to Disney Plus. I think it's all coming to Disney Plus.
That's true.
I think it's all gonna go that way. Anyway, I agree with you. So you're ready for the bottom to fall out, like superhero fatigue.
Well, yeah, I'm ready for the fatigue.
I'm already there.
Which
I won't even watch Jupiter's Legacy because I don't give a shit, even if it's fantastic. And I actually like the writer Mark Millar.
Yeah, Miller.
You
said, it looks like Millar, but it's pronounced Miller.
But I don't care.
But that's the stuff that I am more interested in.
Okay.
Because I think that now that Marvel is going to be like stretching to get some of their characters because they haven't figured out how to recast, more or less. Like when actors leave a role, they're leaving the character behind, and they're not sure how to bring that character back yet.
Right.
Or if they are, we're not aware of it. So I'm looking for like these independent companies or companies that are characters that people really haven't heard of to come out, and because I think you can do some really interesting storytelling there.
Okay.
I mean, you and I have talked about Constantine being a great movie, and it was kind of before all this really hit. But I'm looking for those kind of films to come out. Those we're going to do a superhero film, or we're going to do a comic book film that is going to be true to the comic, but is going to be one that a lot of people haven't heard of. So let's, we can do, or we're not worried about building a franchise off of this film. It's going to be a one-off.
I know what you're saying.
That kind of stuff.
Like The Boys, to me, The Boys I don't care about anymore. I thought the first season was good, but now I feel like it's just they're trying to top they're trying to top themselves each season, and that's like, I think you're losing yourself now, because now it's just about how perverted can we make these guys,
But that's the comic. I mean, the comic is very much like if you have these godlike characters, they're gonna be messed up. Yeah. But you're right. It is kind of running a course. I'm in for one more season to see where
you want to see Dean.
Well, I do want to see Dean. I want to see how they play that out. But at the same time, like the overall story arc, like it's getting like you're really gonna have to have some good writing coming up here to keep me interested.
I don't know if we hit this or not. I want to switch gears. Do you not want to?
Well, I was gonna say I'm looking at the Marvel lineup of
20 till 23.
Well,
I have it here with you too.
Till the end of 2020. I just Googled upcoming Marvel films. Black Widow. I want to see Black Widow, but I want to see Black Widow to see how they do the Red Guardian. Like that's what I want to see in that film.
You don't care about Taskmaster?
Not really.
Really?
Not really. Not so much.
Excited for that one.
Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Interested since it's multiverse. Because I think that's going to be the crux of where it's going to go.
Yes.
So I'm excited for that one. Shang-Chi, I'm keeping my reservations on. Hope it's good. Eternals, I don't know where it's going to go. Like, I don't know. I don't know either. Love and Thunder, obviously pumped up for that because of Thor's new direction.
Mm-hmm.
No Way Home, okay. Wakanda Forever, okay. Venom 2, no interest at all.
No interest either. I'm not interested in that either.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Thor's in it, but other than that, no interest. Like I'm not.
You don't care?
Not really. I don't think I'm up for that one.
Okay.
Captain Marvel 2,
no.
Really. I mean, I like the first one, but I know nothing of this storyline. I know they're bringing in the extra Marvels, like they're bringing in Photon, they're bringing in Miss Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool, but I don't know what the plot is. Like I don't know who the
maybe that's not for us, Greg. Maybe that's for girl power.
It's and if it is, great. I'm cool with it too. I'm still going to enjoy that movie. If it's people are like, if it's a full-on girl power movie, fantastic. I'm in. Like I want to see.
If it's done right, in my opinion, Wonder Woman was a girl power movie and it was awesome.
Yeah,
not 84, the first one. Yeah,
right. Yeah. Morbius, yes. Excited for that one. Want to see that. I typed in Marvel movies and they're bringing me Suicide Squad.
But they're also throwing in Sony. That's not Marvel. I mean, that is Marvel, but
no,
it's not
Suicide Squad
part of the MCU.
Suicide Squad is DC.
I know, but Mobius is not part of the MCU.
Correct. Yeah.
Neither is
Quantum Mania. I love the Ant-Man films.
I want to see that one.
Again, I want to see it in the same vein I want to see Multiverse of Madness. I think it's going to be a crux movie, or a nexus, if you will, of this this next Marvel phase. I think that's gonna have a lot to do with it. The movie I'm most excited about on this entire list is Into the Spider-Verse 2 because they're bringing in Spider-Man 2099. Like that to me is exciting.
Voiced by Isaac, the guy that plays Moon Knight.
Oh, really? Isaac. I want to say Jason Isaacs, but I don't think that's a different actor. That's a different actor.
You're not interested in Fantastic Four?
What do we know of Fantastic Four right now?
Nothing. Isn't that a good thing?
No. I mean, is it coming? Sure, yeah, I
What
can.
about just let it happen, Greg? Just enjoy it. Just let it happen.
It is. I'll let it happen. But as far as being excited for it,
No,
get
you
me.
you left out the Disney Plus shows. Like I'm kind of adding to your argument
Oh,
that there
they're
is
not
a
on my
lot
list,
of
but
stuff coming. No, I have
yeah.
it here. It's after Loki. It's What If, Ms. Marvel, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, Secret Invasion, Ironheart, Armor Wars, the
Okay.
Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. Like
Let's
that's
go through these again and
okay.
go slower.
Sorry. What If, which looks awesome.
Animated vignettes from the geek in me is excited about that, but that will have no bearing on the rest of the universe.
No. Ms. Marvel.
Not for me. I'm not the target
It's not
audience
for
there.
me, but I want to give it a shot because this character has become super popular.
Yeah. Well, she's a
Um,
cultural phenomenon for sure.
yeah, and I'm just interested to see. I don't know a lot about this character, so I just want to know more about this character in terms of them telling me the story. I'm not going to go buy a comic book to read about
Right.
it. I want to see
I
what
played
they
the
do.
Marvel or the Avengers video game that came out last
You've seen it?
year, and
Yeah.
she's like the main character for a lot of it. I I'm
Okay.
not a big fan of stretchy powers. Like I'm just not. You got to find a way to keep them interesting. But I
Do you
think
think
stretchy
the way that
powers are
Elastigirl
stupid.
did it was cool?
No,
Really? I think the way she does it's really cool.
it was okay. I mean, it's something I've seen done. I like.
I've never seen that power used like in terms of me actually seeing it, not reading it.
Well, right. Yeah. I mean, but I've read that. So, like,
Right.
she made herself a parachute. Well, I've seen that a million times in Plastic Man.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Plastic Man can now, like, morph. That's interesting to me. He can, like, shape change because he's totally elastic. He can make his face. And I think, in fact, there's a great moment. The JLA is trying to sneak into a party and they couldn't find him. They're like, "Where's Plastic Man?" And then all of a sudden they look at Wonder
It's a
Woman's
coat.
dress, and
Oh, he was the dress.
it's like a skin tight dress.
Oh.
And she's like, "Yeah, this was totally hanging in the closet for me." And then he giggles, and I'm like, "Oh, that's creative." I think that's hilarious. It's creepy as hell. I mean, this was kind of before the Me Too movement, so that would be wrong, but it was funny, like the
Really?
way they did it. Like it would just showed his like level of power. It's not just stretching; it's a lot of other things.
I see. Okay. All right. Hawkeye after Ms. Marvel.
Uh,
I've
no,
always liked Hawkeye, so
he's okay, but
I'm up for that. I know what's coming soon
keep
is the Young Avengers, and I don't care about that.
yeah,
But
keep in mind I'm still watching all these shows, but I'm not like chomping at the bit excited for them.
Moon Knight, I'm not excited for, but I
A
want to see it.
little, a little because I want to know if they're going to make him as psychotic as in the comics.
Yeah. She-Hulk, which I was fine with it until I heard that they're bringing Scar, Hulk's son, into this universe, and I thought
Oh, how are they doing that?
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, what? Like, who's the
You
mom?
did.
Like,
They didn't
what's
do
going on?
Planet Hulk.
Oh,
That comes from Scar comes from Planet Hulk. I mean, that's how he's.
I'm just letting that was what I heard, and I thought, oh no,
Oh, are they going to say
now
Hulk?
it's a Hulk family. Like,
Are they going
I'm
to say
like,
when Hulk was on uh the Collector, not the Collector's World, in Thor Ragnarok on that world,
Sakaar.
Sakaar. When he's on Sakaar, is
Oh
he
yeah, did he have a
somehow?
girl there?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
maybe
know.
that's how they're going to do it.
Maybe.
Until I see the effects on that show, I'm holding back excitement.
Yeah, I agree. Secret Invasion. I don't know where this is going. I don't know if Secret Invasion when it's a Disney Plus episode, it makes me think it's not a big event. Or is it the Disney Plus big event?
Well, I mean, Secret Invasion in the comics
It's a big
is
deal.
is a big deal,
Yeah.
but it makes the Skrulls bad
Bad
guys,
guys.
and they did not take that route in the current
No,
MC.
but if you've noticed now, there are scrolls popping in everywhere.
Yeah, kind of, but we'll have to see. I mean, I don't
But
know
yeah,
enough. I don't know enough about it. I don't think they're going to do it like the comic because I don't think they can.
yeah.
you can't have all these heroes come out because a lot of them are heroes that they can't even use.
Yeah.
Like Wolverine's not going to be a Skrull because
Right.
Wolverine's not in the MCU.
Right. Iron Heart, which I don't know if they're going to do Riri Williams or if they're going to do. Yeah, I don't. You're right. I don't care if it's not Tony. I don't even care if it's Rowdy.
Yeah.
Rowdy. That's Armor Wars.
Breaking my stuff.
And then the Guardian Holiday Special.
Don't care.
Which just says to me, Star Wars Holiday Special.
Yeah, it's. I mean, is it jumping the shark if you have a holiday special? It seems like it is.
I don't know about that because it's probably going to be animated, or I don't know.
Well, there's a new Guardians of the Galaxy video game that got announced.
Yeah, I saw that.
E3.
Yeah,
doesn't look good to me.
No, it doesn't look good to me either. But neither did the Avengers one.
That was closer. I mean, but at the same, you're right. At the same time, I played it on a playthrough. Haven't gone back to it ever.
Yeah. So, all right, Greg, give us something positive before we.
Holy crap! I don't know.
You started pooping all over.
It is. I'm just having it's full of negativity. What's going on?
Yeah.
Got a new Rocketeer statue. It's pretty cool.
Is that new?
Yeah, it's new. That's cool. This is
for people that haven't seen that movie, watch that movie. That's a fun movie.
This is a movie that totally holds up, in my opinion.
Very fun movie.
Yeah.
That's a good movie too, The Phantom.
Maybe
I'm talking about the guy in the purple suit played
Billy Zane.
Yeah, played by Billy Zane.
I
don't know why. I liked it.
I wouldn't call that a good movie.
Shut your mouth.
Have you watched it recently?
Not recently.
Oh, it's again, I will watch it knowing it's a bad movie, but I'm going into it thinking I know this is a bad movie and it's just cheesy as hell. But I'm gonna
do it. They should do have we talked about this where they should do a Back to the Future with Robert Downey Jr. and Tom Holland?
We mentioned it, and yes, you're absolutely right. They should.
If they redid that movie with those two people, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go see this. But other than that, they should do a Flash Gordon.
I wish they would do a good Flash Gordon film.
Me too.
I'm looking at the news here to try to find
something happy,
something
positive.
Well, I mean, like it or not, I haven't seen it. I don't know if I'll get to see it in the theater, but the Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard did #1 at the box office.
Doesn't surprise me.
Just over 11.5 million ahead of A Quiet Place 2, which is a very good film. It says Godzilla vs. Kong crosses 100 million at the box office. So movies are coming back.
Movies are coming back for sure. I'm going to see Black Widow in the theater. So
definitely. Yep. That'll be a definite. I think that's going to be the biggest movie premiere to date.
Probably.
And that comes out. And that's kind of creeping up on us. Like
it is.
July 9th is not that far away.
Yeah. Coming quick for sure. So all right. I think you know what? Hey, we got some good movies coming. Movies are coming back. There's your positive people. Excuse me. Okay. I think we'll end it there. Greg, any last words for our podcast?
Yeah, even though we're being negative and everything today, and I don't know why, but it's just one of those days. So as you're going through your week, just remember that you got to know your audience, know who you're talking to, verify your sources, and then if you do all that, don't be a douche.
For the Greg, this is Johnny. Podcast out, everybody. Take care. Thank you for listening.